Hello everyone and welcome to Soul Station. I am working on a lot of different projects and in this video I'm going to share them with you, so I hope you'll join me and let's get started. If you watched last week's video, then you may recognize these items because I shared them in my thrift haul. The paint I'm using on all of these projects is the DIY Cottage Colors paint. With these paints, you really have to stir them up well because they have a built-in top coat and it's always kind of separated on the top, so you just have to stir it up really good. For this picture frame, I'm just going to remove everything off the back of it so I don't get any paint on it. This brown is kind of a plastic looking brown and it just wasn't working for me, so I'm going to go ahead and paint it in the cottage color Gray Skies. I gave this picture frame 2 coats of this paint and I did let it dry about an hour in between each coat. Next, I'm going to just be dry brushing this with the white paint. I really like the look of this white dry brushed over the gray. It just looks so good. This little shelf I've had lying around for a while and decided to give it a new coat of paint, and I really like the yellow, I just wasn't crazy about the pineapple. So I'm going to give it a coat of white paint and then I want to try and distress it so that the yellow comes through the white. I gave this shelf 3 coats of paint and then I also did just a little bit extra on the pineapple to cover that up. I used rough sandpaper, about 220 grit, and then I lightly sanded it with that paper so that I could get that yellow to come through the white. Meanwhile, I caught our pet snuggling here by the wood stove. This next project I'm working on is just to make some old-fashioned painted signs, and I've done this before in past video, but what I'm doing is laying out the word lavender and then I'm going to measure it and cut it. Several of you have commented that you really appreciate that I share my faith here in my videos, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching and for commenting. I want to be really honest with you guys because I know that if the Lord hadn't led me to do this, I wouldn't be here doing videos in the first place. It would be so much easier for me to not do these videos because by nature I have always been very shy and a quiet person, and so this is really outside of my comfort zone. But Jesus changed my life and I wouldn't even be alive, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Him, and I just have to live for Him and I want to be obedient, and that's why I'm here. Next, I'm sanding each board just to soften all the corners and edges on it. the Lord has given me a whole new life, and I don't want to hide that, I don't want to sit up here and hide that and not share that. This wood is primed. It's extra piece of trim from our house, but I did want to give it just another coat of fresh white paint. Now I'm laying out my stencils to make sure that they fit on the board and that they line up well, and I like to measure them too, although it doesn't always work out perfectly, but I think that's kind of the charm of these old-fashioned signs. Proverbs 16:24 says that pleasant words are like honey. They are sweet to the soul and health to your bones. In contrast, there's a saying in the world that says, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. When I was a small child in elementary school, I was bullied a lot, and I used to always think that because I heard that in school. I didn't start learning what that really meant until like the last 10 years of my life, but the wisdom is in God's word, because words are important. They are so important, the words that we say to ourselves and the words that we speak over other people. Much better results stenciling with this small paintbrush than I did with the sponge. In fact, all the words that were spoken to me as a child, I didn't even realize the effect that they had on me until I became an adult and I could look back and compare what God's word says and then the things that I actually thought about myself. Now I see that there's God's wisdom and there's worldly wisdom. Whether you are a believer or not, I think that we have all experienced the sting of a harsh word. The difference is that when Jesus came into my life and changed me, that's when I had to start understanding things from his perspective, and that I won't take offense to it anymore. After the paint had dried, I went over each sign with some sandpaper to give it a time-worn look. Because if I am accepted in the beloved, if I am believing in Jesus and I have accepted his love, nobody else can take that away from me. And nobody can take that away from you either. This next project that I'm working on, I'm designing and making some shirts with my Cricut. And I have a past video where I probably go into a little bit more detail on how to do that. But right here, I'm just weeding the vinyl, and then I'm going to be ironing it on with my press. I like to use a lint roller just to remove any hair or lint that might be on the shirt before I press on my design. I use a tape measure so that I can center the design and make sure that each one of them is the same. For these candle sconces, I didn't want full coverage because I wanted some of that background color to come through it to give it kind of an aged look. I still gave them 2 coats of this paint, but I just didn't push it into every nook and cranny. That way I didn't have to sand it or do any distressing to it. For these mirrors, I am just going to dry brush a little bit of white paint on them. I really like the gold, but I just wanted to soften it a little bit. I am doing a market this weekend in Cody, Wyoming, and I am so excited to be bringing all of these new shirts and all of the new items that I've been working on. I can hardly wait to see my little grandsons running around in these shirts. Have any good wall space right now to hang up these signs and stage, so I hope that you'll still get a good idea of how these will look, and I will be filming at my market next weekend where I'll have these all set up and I'll be sharing a video of that. Thank you for being here, you guys. Thank you for watching and commenting, and I hope that I have encouraged you in some way today. God bless.